Good afternoon, and welcome to Addiction Recovery. I'm Tim, and I'm an addict. Today, I'm going to talk about boredom and triggers a little bit. Boredom is a huge hurdle to overcome. It's actually your worst enemy when you're in early recovery. In any time in recovery, it can be a danger, but in early recovery, it's a must to stay occupied. Keep yourself busy. That means calling your sponsor, going to a meeting, watching something on YouTube that is recovery related, listening to music, drawing, painting, whatever the case may be. Just anything to stop you from being bored. Do not seclude yourself and sit up in your room by yourself being bored, and because if you sit by yourself long enough, if you isolate yourself, self will run riot, and you will end up using. That's just the way it works. That's how addiction works for me. Pretty sure it's how it works for most people, to be honest with you. I can't say all I know is what I know, my own experience. Oh Jesus. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not gonna re-record over that. But anyway, so try not to stay bored. Try not to be bored. Try not to be hungry. That's a huge one too. Being hungry, they call it hangry actually, but being hungry and angry combined is a good way for you to relapse. Um, what I like to do is when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I get on to there's a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week chat room. It's at na.org. It's called NA Chat, obviously, and they also have meetings there twice daily. They're online meetings. Now, if you're homebound and you can't get out of the house, it's a wonderful tool. I mean, it's a wonderful tool anyway, but it's especially good if you're homebound and can't get to meetings. But I do suggest going to face meetings, getting a sponsor, and working through the steps. The first few times I tried recovery, I tried to do it alone. This is not a I program, this is a we program. So it's a must for you to do it with other people. The first time I read the book, I mean, first of all, I was befuddled because my brain was filled with fucking drugs and confusion and fear, and I just didn't understand a lot of it. I'm like, what is all this shit? So have someone read the book with you. That's a huge one. Have someone go over it with you. Now, some of my triggers are different for everybody. To be honest with you, the only real excuse I needed to get fucked up was my eyes were open. I mean, if I could have figured out a way to get high or drunk with my eyes closed, I probably would have done it, like an IV drip or something. I don't know. But literally, my biggest trigger was just my eyes being open. But if you want to get a little deeper than that, here we go. My biggest triggers are fear. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of not being accepted. I just, plain and simple, didn't like myself when I was using. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to cope with any kind of mental stressors at all. Not even a little bit. My coping skills were non-existent. When I stopped using, I'm a 41-year-old man. I'll be 42 in September. But when I stopped using, the first time I got clean, the first time I came in the rooms, I was 32, so going on 10 years ago. I probably had the mentality of a teenager. I mean, literally did not know how to cope with anything. I didn't know how to manage money. I didn't know how to pay bills. I was the most irresponsible person you could have met in your life. I would not do anything unless you drugged me, kicking and screaming to go do it. Literally anything that was not in my self-interest, I had to be forced to do it. And I don't know if all addicts are this way, if it's just me, but I don't do authority figures well. Or at one time, I didn't do authority figures well. I hated police. I hated judges. I hated lawyers. I hated teachers. I hated anybody that I thought was in some way better than me or thought they were better than me. And I'm the one, it was all in my head. It was my problem. Well, how do I know what other people are thinking? To be honest with you, it's none of my fucking business what other people are thinking. It doesn't change anything. What other people feel about me changes absolutely nothing about my recovery. That was the best thing that my sponsor ever told me, was it's none of your business what other people think about you. So take that for what it's worth. I mean, I know it sounds kooky, but if you most addicts have a real self-esteem problem, and we worry. I mean, we like to put on a big tough act and build walls and pretend we're invincible, but let's face it, we're fucking spineless jellyfish. We're afraid of our own shadow. So um so boredom, like I said, boredom is a huge trigger. Don't let yourself get, oh, they call it halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And as corny as that sounds, that is absolutely true. Take some time for yourself to treat yourself to a small reward. A small reward is great, and I don't mean drugs. Don't take it that way. And I don't mean a drink either. I mean a small reward like go out for a nice dinner, have an ice cream cone, give yourself an extra hour to watch YouTube videos, get on Reddit and fuck around for a while, whatever it takes. But reward yourself in some way. Take some time for yourself. I'm sorry the video was so late today. I had to fight against Mother Nature, and I had to get out and mow before it literally rained on my parade. Where I live, Illinois, as you can see, go Cubbies. It's been raining literally every day for like a month. If an arc floated by right now, I wouldn't be surprised. So, please don't be your own worst enemy. Use every tool at your disposal. Pick up the phone, call somebody. If you don't have a sponsor, find a sponsor. If you don't go to meetings, go to meetings. If meetings aren't for you, find whatever works for you. I'm not saying that 12-step recovery is the only way to go. There's other games in town, but it has worked for me. I mean, that's the only thing that was around when I got sober, so it's what I know. And addicts don't like change. That's another thing too, is try to get out of your comfort zone every now and then. It sounds crazy, but it'll teach you to tolerate emotions that you're not used to having. Like when I first got clean, as crazy as it sounds, my sponsor said, take your wallet out of your right pocket, because I'm right-handed, and put it in your left pocket. It drove me fucking nuts. Crazy. I couldn't stand it. But after a while, I got used to it. And what that did is it taught me to cope with something I didn't like. It took me out of my comfort zone. Like yesterday's video, I was talking about when you first come into meetings, you're going to be mobbed by people. Don't take that the wrong way. It's really gonna affect you. People are going to be in your personal bubble. It's really taking you out of your comfort zone, but don't let that throw you off. So remember, triggers and boredom, huge problems. So whatever it takes, whether it be music, riding a bike, doing some laundry, pottery, fishing, blacksmithing, any hobby you literally can think of, just do something to take your mind off of it. Because usually, the fiending for it only lasts. I mean, the initial thought is just a couple seconds. If you can get past that, like 10-15 seconds, you should be okay. But if you let it get into your head and you start obsessing about it, and that hamster starts running around on that wheel, or I used to also call it the monkey clanging the cymbals thing. If you let that happen, you're halfway on your way to relapse. I call that a mental relapse, and then a physical relapse is sure to follow if you do not do something to rectify what's going on in your head. So, like I said, don't let boredom get to you. Don't let triggers get to you. Remember, you are worth it. No matter how long you've been using, what you've been using, and what people think of you. All of that can change. There's a good person inside of you. You may doubt it. Other people may doubt it, but I do not doubt it. You just need to find that person and learn how to deal with your emotions properly. I wish you all the best. If you ever have any comments or suggestions for videos, if you ever want to talk to me, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I will answer your comment. It might take me a little while, but the channel's small right now, so literally I can answer any question you have. But if you ever want to talk to me, I will be here, and I will not turn you away. My goal is to help any addict that needs help. So, please do this for yourself. Give yourself a chance. If you're using still, and and you're watching these videos, that's okay too, man. I went to meetings for a long time, and I couldn't stop using. I just couldn't stop. But I kept going. I kept going, and I kept going. And I heard a lot of shit I didn't like. I heard a whole lot of shit I didn't like, and the reason I didn't like it is because I didn't want to. I didn't want to admit that I didn't want to admit that I had them problems. I didn't want to come to terms with it. It's a hard thing to do. I mean, it has got to be one of the hardest things for a human to do, to admit they're wrong. But it is also one of the most liberating, freeing things someone can do, is to admit they're wrong. Once you can admit your faults, you can fix your faults. So keep that in mind. So that's my video for today. I love you guys. Please give yourself a chance. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.